Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Series Stars. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe, tap like, and share this video with a fellow fan. Your support keeps us going and helps us bring you more of the stories you love from the glamorous, unpredictable universe of Turkish entertainment. Today's update is a calm, glowing moment that still has everyone talking, a serene city drive featuring Alina and Alp Navras, quietly stealing a few hours for themselves and turning an ordinary day into the kind of scene people can't stop replaying in their minds. It begins in the late morning, with the two stepping out from a private residence in Istanbul. No flashing lights, no entourage, just the hush that comes with a weekday escape. They looked effortlessly polished without trying too hard, Alina in a sleek light jacket, soft-toned sunglasses, and clean sneakers that balanced comfort with style. Beside her, Alp kept things relaxed in a well-fitted casual shirt and jeans, radiating that calm, unbothered energy he's known for. They moved in sync, like they'd already decided that today would be about breathing, not rushing. Their car was a quiet statement, roomy, understated, undeniably comfortable. It wasn't about showing off, it was about shutting the door and leaving the noise outside. People close to them hinted that this wasn't a grand plan or a dramatic outing, just an honest attempt to be together without schedules tugging at their sleeves. The aim was simple: drift through the day, enjoy the city, talk about nothing and everything, and let the minutes feel like theirs. As the car slid into Istanbul's winding streets, a handful of fans noticed them, some by chance and others by sheer luck. A few short clips surfaced online. Alina laughing with her head tilted slightly back, hair tucked behind one ear, Alp glancing over with a bright, familiar half-smile, his posture relaxed, one hand loose on the wheel. There was no performance to it, no theatricality, just the kind of ease that comes from being around someone who lets you be light. The route unfolded like a postcard. They traced the coast for a while, letting the sunlight flicker on the water and the city pass in snapshots. A runner on the sidewalk, a stray cat settling under a cafe table, a fisherman hauling in the last of the morning's patience. They talked, anyone watching could feel it. Not the weighty, dramatic talk you save for crucial scenes, but that bright, breezy conversation where jokes land softly and silences feel warm. Midway through the drive, they pulled over near a cafe. No big announcement, no handlers. They stepped out, greeted the staff as if they'd been there 100 times, and ordered a quick pick-me-up. There was a gentle rhythm in the way they moved. Alp held the door as Alina took off her sunglasses. She reached for a napkin and brushed a crease from his sleeve. Their smiles tugged at each other naturally. People close enough to see them up close noted how genuine they seemed with everyone. A quick thank you here, a nod of appreciation there, the kind of grace that never feels rehearsed. Their time inside was short, unhurried but efficient. At one point, Alp noticed a breeze sneak in and touched the edge of Alina's jacket, setting it right with an easy, familiar gesture. She whispered something that made him grin. The staff returned their warmth, and the moment was over almost as soon as it began. They were back in the car, coffee in hand, the city continuing to move around them like a film spool. Inside the car, the atmosphere was light and playful. They joked about street names, changed their music once or twice, and let the conversation wander. Observers who happened to catch glimpses from neighboring cars said the energy between them was unmistakable but never loud. A small tilt toward each other. A rhythm that held steady. The kind of connection that doesn't need big proclamations to be obvious. Then came a traffic light, the uninvited stage of every city day. The car eased to a stop long enough for a few onlookers to lift their phones. Rather than retreat behind tinted glass, they handled it with gentle ease, Alina offering a polite smile, Alp giving a quick wave before the light shifted and the moment dissolved into motion again. It was the same in every fleeting frame. Open, unguarded, present, and still somehow private. They didn't take the busy roads. They settled on quieter stretches that let them breathe. There were little things to point out, the curve of an old building, a narrow balcony crowded with plants, a bookstore with a window display that caught Alina's eye. She gestured toward it, and Alp glanced over with a teasing reply, the kind you only give someone whose laughter you know well. The calm in the car was unmistakable. Two people who know each other's pace. Two people content to drift. Online, reaction came quickly. Short clips, stills from across the street, a few excited comments from cafegoers who claimed they'd exchanged a hello. The posts weren't loud or scandalous, they were affectionate. Fans responded to the softness of it all. People called the moment a breath of fresh air in an industry that often runs on spectacle. Words like calming, sweet, and real floated beneath the posts, and the conversation kept building. What stood out to many was how easily they balanced presence with boundaries. Even in the middle of the city, even with phones hovering nearby, Alina and Alp kept the conversation between them. Smiles were shared generously, private words were not. It felt deliberate. It felt careful. And it felt like the way seasoned stars move through a world that is always, always watching. They continued their loop around the city, appreciating the views most people skip past when they're in a hurry. The air softened in the late afternoon light, and the shadows began to lengthen as the day wound down. Every so often, Alina pointed out something small, the color of a door, a balcony draped with laundry-like flags, a woman carrying flowers wrapped in brown paper. Alp responded in his signature way, good-natured, amused, a little bit playful. It didn't look like a staged display of affection, it looked like a day built of tiny, easy pieces. There was no grand reveal, no surprise stop, no sudden twist. That was the point. People who saw them noticed how comfortable they seemed in stillness. The car was a kind of sanctuary, music turned down, windows up but not closed off, the road unfolding quietly beneath them. You could almost feel the relief, a day that did not require them to perform anything but kindness. The last act of the outing arrived without fanfare. The car pulled back toward the same residence where the day had begun. They weren't in a hurry. They paused in the car before the engine went quiet, finishing a thought or a laugh, maybe planning the next time the city would belong to them for a few hours. Then the doors opened, and the moment ended as softly as it had started. Those who had watched online kept the conversation alive long after the afternoon turned to evening. People agreed on the same points, they looked at ease, they were thoughtful with strangers, and they carried themselves with that gentle, elegant calm that's become part of their public image. Fans loved the small gestures, Alp's steady attention, Alina's easy humor, the way they seemed to choose serenity even when noise might be easier. And that is where the meaning of the day settled. It wasn't about the car or the cafe or even the city. It was about the texture of their connection. The way style can feel natural when the person beside you makes you feel at home. The way a quiet drive can reveal more than 100 interviews. There's power in keeping some things simple. There's a certain romance in letting the world see only the warmth that spills over, while keeping the center of it yours. If you put the day into pieces, you'd see the same things reflected back over and over. The understated fashion, the comfortable silences, the unhurried kindness with strangers, the effort to remind each other that in a life full of cameras, privacy is a craft as much as a boundary. It was a masterclass in easing through public space without losing touch with the private thread that holds everything together. It's easy to imagine their conversation continuing after the doors closed, what they noticed, what made them laugh, what they'd like to do next. Maybe they joked about the traffic light moment. Maybe they talked about a film, or a quiet dinner, or a weekend plan to explore a neighborhood they hadn't driven through in a while. Whatever it was, it felt like a day that added something gentle to their story. What people kept returning to, in comments and messages and quiet admiration, was how grounded they seemed. Fame brings its own weather, some chase the storm. But this looked like sunshine through a window. The affection between them didn't feel like a headline. It felt like air. That's what made the clips replayable. That's what made the photos linger. Of course, the city kept moving. The cafe served 100 more coffees. The light changed from gold to blue. And still, the day remained tucked inside the minds of those who happened to witness it, and in the corners of social pages where fans hold on to moments that feel true. As the evening went on, people called it comforting, and yes, even heartwarming. They called it the kind of day that reminds you that ordinary is not the opposite of magic. In the end, their drive said more than a statement ever could. It showed the way they carry themselves, poised but open, stylish but unshowy, attentive to each other and considerate with everyone else. It hinted at a connection that values patience over spectacle, laughter over noise, and presence over performance. That's what made the day stand out. Not because it was loud, but because it was honest. So when fans look back at this little city loop, a car door opened with care, a jacket straightened, a quiet coffee, a smile through a window, they'll remember what resonated most. Alina and Alp choosing to move through Istanbul like two people who know what it means to share time well. It was not about being seen, it was about being together. And that's why the moment, as simple as it was, keeps echoing online. We'll keep watching for the next time their path winds through the city in the same gentle way. Until then, let this be a soft reminder that not every story worth telling is built from grand gestures. Sometimes, the car is warm, the music is low, and two familiar voices fill the space between the turns. Thank you for being here with us at Turkish Series Stars. If you enjoyed this glimpse into their day, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. We have more calm, bright, behind-the-scenes moments coming your way, and we can't wait to bring you the next chapter when it arrives.